The mechanical roar of Patton's Third Army never fades, a relentless soundtrack of engines and steel tracks grinding through the frozen fields of France. The tanks, like iron beasts, carve their path through the snow, leaving a trail of churned earth and ice in their wake. For the soldiers, this noise means progress, but also exhaustion and hunger. Each step forward is a battle against the biting cold and the gnawing emptiness that grows with every passing hour. Beneath the thunder, a quieter struggle, the gnawing emptiness in their stomachs. The hunger is a constant companion, a silent enemy that saps their strength and tests their resolve. There's no warm meal at day's end, just a cold can, opened with a P-38, the metallic scrape as familiar as gunfire. The soldiers have grown accustomed to this ritual, a small moment of normalcy in the chaos of war. Each can is a lottery hash or stew, always cold, always processed, never for pleasure, just fuel for another day. The contents are unappetizing, but they provide the necessary energy to keep moving. The smell is flat and greasy, a stark contrast to the crisp winter air. It's a reminder of the harsh reality they face, far from the comforts of home. Faces etched with fatigue, the men eat in silence, metal spoons clinking against metal cans. Each bite is a struggle, but they persevere, driven by the need to survive. This is survival at its most basic, shared hardship binding Patton's army together. In these moments, they find a sense of camaraderie, a bond forged in the crucible of war. In this daily communion, they find the strength to march on. Each shared meal, each moment of solidarity fuels their determination to keep fighting, to keep moving forward, no matter the cost. Patton's obsession with speed drove the Third Army forward, pushing his men and machines to their absolute limits in a bold gamble to outpace the enemy. His forces advanced faster and farther than anyone thought possible, racing across the European countryside in a relentless pursuit of victory. This relentless advance kept the enemy off balance, forcing them into retreat, but it came at a steep cost. Logistics began to unravel under the strain. Fuel and ammunition took priority. Food was left behind, and the basics of daily life became luxuries for the men at the front. The Red Ball Express worked miracles, racing day and night to deliver supplies, but even their heroic efforts couldn't keep up as supply lines snapped under the strain. Warm meals from field kitchens lagged far behind the front, leaving soldiers to make do with whatever they could scrounge or carry. Soldiers at the tip of the spear lived off what they carried. Isolated, hungry, and cut off from support, their only comfort the rations in their packs. The rapid advance brought victory, but also prolonged hardship, as exhaustion and hunger became constant companions. Patton's strategy won ground, but his men paid with empty stomachs, sharing meager rations and enduring the harsh realities of war. Yet they pressed on, fueled by weeks-old rations, sheer determination, and the hope that their sacrifices would bring the war to a swifter end. The C-ration was the taste of war. 6 olive green cans, day after day, stacked in every soldier's pack. For many, it was the only meal they could count on, a constant companion through mud, rain, and exhaustion. There were 3 units: meat and beans, stew, spaghetti, or the dreaded hash, each one a gamble, always cold, always bland, and often met with a sigh. Soldiers never knew which can they'd get, but they knew it wouldn't be gourmet. The 3 B units offered hard biscuits, instant coffee, sugar, a powdered drink, and a scrap of candy, small comforts in a world turned upside down. Sometimes the candy was the highlight of the day. In theory, it was a balanced meal. In reality, it was a collection of processed monotony, designed for survival, not satisfaction. The sameness wore on the mind as much as the body. Fires were rare. Most meals were eaten cold, congealed, and tasteless, straight from the can. The texture was as uninviting as the flavor, but hunger left little room for complaints. Soldiers mocked the rations with dark humor, inventing nicknames and swapping stories to cope with the monotony. Laughter became a way to make the unpalatable bearable. Yet these cans were a lifeline, durable, weatherproof, and packed with calories. No matter the conditions, the C-ration endured, just like the men who carried them. Comfort was sacrificed for survival, and every bite was a reminder of the hardships faced on the front lines. The C-ration became a symbol of war's reality: endurance over enjoyment, necessity over pleasure, and the will to keep going. It kept them marching, even as spirits wore thin, fueling bodies and reminding every soldier that survival sometimes meant settling for less than comfort. The K-ration, smaller, lighter, designed for mobility, became a staple for Patton's men. 3 color-coded boxes: breakfast, dinner, supper, each a compact meal in a waxed box. Breakfast, ham and eggs, biscuits, fruit bar, coffee, dinner cheese or meat paste, biscuits, candy. Supper, processed meat, bouillon, chocolate. Cigarettes and gum offered small comforts, easy to carry but never meant for long-term use. The biscuits were rock hard, the cheese waxy, the eggs despised. Weeks of K-rations led to boredom and malnutrition. Ingenious packaging, but another symbol of the daily grind. The struggle for real food continued. Faced with monotony, soldiers turned to the land for relief. Foraging became a lifeline. Chickens, potatoes, or a wheel of cheese were treasures. Officially forbidden, but widely tolerated, these finds boosted morale. Abandoned farmhouses and captured enemy supplies offered rare variety: dark bread, sausage, tins of fish. Soldiers pooled their finds, transforming rations into communal stews. Foraging was a small act of defiance, a way to reclaim control. These shared meals were moments of humanity amid chaos. In the hunt for food, they found camaraderie and hope. Even a hot meal from scavenged scraps was a victory. The D-ration, emergency food, not a meal. A dense, bitter chocolate bar designed to be unappetizing and eaten only in crisis. Hard as a brick, it was meant to be shaved or dissolved, not bitten. 600 calories of last-ditch survival. Carrying a D-ration was a reminder of how quickly things could go wrong. Eating it meant desperation, cut off, lost, or out of options. The taste was the flavor of crisis and isolation. The D-ration was a symbol of the razor's edge these men walked. It was not shared, but endured alone. The monotony of rations wore down body and spirit. Food is comfort, culture, and hope. Here, it was a daily reminder of hardship. The endless cans mirrored the grinding war. Foraging brought rare moments of joy and a vital boost to morale. Endurance was as much mental as physical. Soldiers coped with humor, ritual, and small acts of defiance. Their resilience was forged in hardship, not comfort. The story of Patton's men is a lesson in survival and the strength of the human spirit. Even on the barest rations, they found the will to endure.